question. I just found out I had a spirit attached to me for 3 years. She was not malicious, just scared. She has been sent back to source. However, I have been extremely emotional ever since I found this out. For years I thought I was losing my mind or I had a mental disorder that had gone unnoticed. When I say that, I mean that I felt that there was 2 different people inside my head. I had extreme conflicting thoughts. I also chalked it up to growing older. I thought maybe the old voice was my immature self and the new voice was what I was growing into. When it first started happening, I told my friend it felt like someone else was taking me over. I knew that it did not sound right from her reaction, so I never told anyone else going forward. I started having urges to take baths all the time. I know word right. I started to dislike all my friends and had constant thoughts that they didn't even like me. I got back into heavy drinking, etc. It got worse and worse over time, but I ignored all the signs. I ended up pushing away all my friends because I didn't know how to act like my old self anymore and felt like I was pretending. I went into extreme depression and could never get enough sleep. I saw shadows all the time and eventually got used to them, blaming them on my bad eyesight. I ignored so many things and thought there was something wrong with me mentally for years. About a month ago I decided enough was enough. I was going to force myself out of this depression, and at least try to do better with myself. I quit drinking. Within the first week I started noticing things that, for example, I always misplace things, but it wasn't me misplacing things this time. I would set something down, small, go to the next room, come back and it would be nowhere to be found. I would flip my entire room upside down, nothing. Go back to the room I went to, thinking I must have brought it with me and just wasn't thinking, wouldn't find it. Give up. And go back to my room. The item would be back where I originally placed it. The first few times I was in denial and blames myself for just being absent-minded until it happened again and again and again. The second incident was I was in the shower about 3 weeks ago and I felt something push me. Like a strong wind pushing me. I got freaked out but chalked it up to me imagining it. When I got out of the shower my mirror was covered in handprints. My heart sunk. I couldn't breathe. I was in so much fear. I googled what they could be immediately. What came up was ghosts, or old residue. I had just cleaned my mirror a few days prior and I am the only one who used that bathroom, but again, I was in denial. I've felt like I have been being watched for a while, but the last few weeks it was unignorable. The energy was so heavy that I didn't want my back to anything but a wall. It was so bad I knew something wasn't right. I felt suffocated. I had been so tired for weeks and weeks. I was taking all kinds of supplements because no matter how much I slept I was exhausted. Not just mentally, but my mind, body and soul. A few days ago I was making a video and caught the spirit saying hey to me on camera plain as day. I was alone in my room and there were no sounds to interfere. I naturally ruled everything out, looking for any excuse possible. The hey was so apparent I obsessed over it. It was almost like my fear was feeding the spirit because the energy got heavier and heavier to the point I worked up the courage to say, I know you're there, please leave. I sent it to my friend who is knowledgeable about these things, who sent it to her friend. She called me and told me I needed to meet with her friend right away. That is when I found out I had a spirit attached to me, when she attached to me and where. Everything made sense and I started bawling. She said the spirit was apologetic for scaring me with the shadows. I started crying all over again because I had never told anyone this. Anyways, she sent the spirit back to source. I feel for the first time in years normal. My mind is normal, I have a decent amount of energy, and I'm hopeful. However, something feels extremely different. I again don't feel like myself. Not in a bad way. Just different, like I don't know who to be all over again. Does anyone have any suggestions on what I should do going forward, or knows if this is normal? Also, if anyone knows what happens after you detach a spirit, for the person it was attached to. I am also scared to pick up another one. maybe even what I can do to prevent this from happening again? Thanks in advance. Answer: I think energies, entities probably hitch themselves to people all the time, but people really don't like to think about it. That's why I feel that hoarding should become a regular, accepted practice, as commonplace as changing your air filter. I actually keep an herb sachet next to my bed, for example. I learned last year that for whatever reason, bad energies are repulsed by dried periwinkle. There are a lot of resources out there about this. I'd be happy to share a few with you that I personally find trustworthy. I'm sorry that this experience has left you feeling a little lost. Do you have a personal mindfulness practice? I strongly feel that meditation is important for becoming comfortable with being alone with ourselves. And a gratitude journal is a great way to uncover what we place value in, which is a huge component.
Herbs for honoring the dead. Lavender for peace in passing on. Time to give peace to those who have died from violent causes. Apples are a common Irish symbol for the dead. Rosemary for remembrance and protection. Myrrh is commonly used in necromancy. Its properties brings in positive and good energies. Chervil often is used in rituals related with the dead. Mugwort and bay leaves are usually used to aid divination and communication with the dead. Lemon balm for peace and healing. Wormwood to strengthen your communication with the dead, bringing in healing and revengeful properties. Frankincense is a traditional herb, incense to use if you desire to honor the dead. Calendula for blessings and eternal love. Rose petals or the entire flower to bring in love and healing. Lilies for a sense of security and togetherness, great to keep around fearful children. Orchids and daisies are for balanced emotions and adoration, ideal for lovers. Daisies, also ideal for former lovers and lost family member. Tulips to spread happiness. Dandelions are ideal for connecting with certain spirits. Water is a traditional offering for the dead, often left out for passing spirits. Wine or other types of alcohol. Pomegranate juice to represent Persephone. Herbs for honoring